And welcome back to part 10 of What If Naruto was adopted by Jiraiya and Tsunade. Last time on Naruto What If, we had the death of Jiraiya, which wrapped things up. We also had the reintroduction of a certain snake, specific snake, in the newly formed Kabuto. Now, this would be the part where we lead into Naruto's training with the Toads. But there is a difference here. Naruto still feels he needs to get stronger, still do right by Jiraiya. So he's still going to get trained with the Toads, but it's going to be a different training. Before he goes, though, Tsunade agrees to implant the Sharingan into Sasuke, Itachi Sharingan, so he will ultimately gain the Eternal Mangekyo after this. Yawn coming, hold on. So, what is Naruto doing? Well, he's in essence doing what he did on the Turtle Island. And that is to master the nine-tailed fox's chakra, more or less. Now, he does this, but he still goes to Mount Miyabuku because there's a lot of natural sage chakra there. The Toads would be there to help him. Plus, they are the ones who gave him the key, if I'm not mistaken. They passed the key on to him from Jiraiya. But he goes there. He probably goes into one of the deepest caves he could, lines the entire area with seals, goes into sage mode to give him a boost. He's ready for this. He goes in. He meditates. He wakes up in his inner world. He goes, finds Kurama's seal. The Nine Tails briefly, starts, what are you planning to do, Brett? Just shut up and watch. And then he's about to go for it when all of a sudden he's got that hand touching or grabbing his wrist. And are you sure you want to do that, Naruto? And he looks and he sees Minato Namikaze, his biological father there. He's like, you're the fourth Hokage. So yeah, well, I'm the fourth Hokage. Yep, and I'm that's right, and I'm your father too. Fourth Hokage. You've gotten strong, son. He's careful with his words. He does still call him son because biologically he is his son. He is his father. But to quote Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, he may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy, boy. Jiraiya was his dad. Jiraiya raised him. So he ultimately, he stops him and they look at each other. Now, I think Naruto might still give him the shot to the gut for still putting the Nine Tails inside of him. He's probably had a lot of time to come to terms with this, especially knowing about this early. But still, he probably doesn't boo. It's like, that's for putting the fox in me, you asshole. It's like, Minato is immediately like, yeah, I guess I kind of had that coming. But you look good. Tsunade and Jiraiya really have raised you to be a good, proper man, haven't they? And Naruto starts kind of tearing up a little bit because he at the word thought of Jiraiya, but also the fact he's meeting his legitimate real father. And they go into what's happened because the seal isn't being forcibly activated through Kurama nearly coming out of the seal on his own. Minato, I think, has extra time there, and furthermore, because he's the one who kind of controlled the seal, manipulated the seal, and sealed her in there. It's at that point that Kushina shows up. It's like, oh, Minato, I didn't expect to see us both at the same time here. I was like, hey, honey. I was like, wait, Mom. Well, I'm your mother, but yeah, I'm your mother. That's right. I gave birth to you, and you're my baby boy. Look at me. She just grabs it. Oh, and Naruto's kind of smiling, and he does finally hug them. No words minced here. Jiraiya and Tsunade are his parents. The people who raised him, taught him values, and loved him from birth. Or loved him as they raised him. Or loved him as their own. But let's not mince words here either. That doesn't mean Naruto can't acknowledge these two as his actual biological parents and show love for them as well. So they get to talking about everything that's happened here. Now Kushina is buried deeper in the seal, so she didn't know about everything that was going on. Like, meet a nice girl like your mom. So Minato does fill her in a little bit. Oh, have you met a nice girl like me yet? Mm-hmm. Like your mom yet? Well, there might be one or two. It's like, oh yeah, he's apparently our little Naruto's a young ladies man. Oh my! Oh, who is it? Oh, is it maybe Hiyashi's daughter? Oh, or maybe it's like, Hiyashi. Oh, you mean? Oh yeah, Hinata. Oh, do you like Hinata? But who's the other girl? Well, Ino's kind of like, Yamana. Oh, I know Ichi's girl. So she's like, look, I'm not trying to be a player or anything here. It's like, oh, It's like, oh, we're just, that's parents' job. Naruto does the bust your chops. But anyway, long story short, he explains how he's honoring Jiraiya. He knows the Akatsuki are going to be coming. And so he was planning to finally take control of the Nine Tails chakra for himself. And Minato and Kushina both kind of nod and agree to help him out. Here, Minato doesn't actually have to put all that extra energy into resealing the seal, which means he's got some energy to spare here. And so Kurama's finally let out. They have they start duking it out. Their battle. Naruto's got his sage mode activated. He's got multiple seals in his mind activated. He's struggling with Kurama. Kushina uses the adamantine chains. Minato using a little bit of the flying Raijin, I think, to help navigate Naruto around. In their struggle, though, they do notice that despite Naruto not having all the issues he had in the original, there is still a tug of war with his darkness coming out. Now the question is why? And I think it would come down to really just his anger at Jiraiya's death for who did it. And they're there being his parents to talk him through it, and he ultimately is able to come out of it, subjugate Kurama, reseal the seal, and gain access to the Fox chakra mode, the Kurama mode. Now, that said, we would fast forward a little bit because nothing else would really happen here. Naruto's still practicing with this form. He can now sense the negative energy of others. He's been working on, say, the Tail Beast Bomber Sengon. And the invasion of Pain would happen. Now, when Pain comes into play, there is a big problem here that enough time has passed that Sasuke should be able to properly recover from, should have been properly able to recover. So just as Kakashi is about to be taken out, the Sasuke comes in and just uses like Chidori, his Chidori, like sword, if you will, to just slice the missile and just boom, it's like, Sasuke Uchiha, you're the one the Kabuto wants for his services and what he's willing to have. I am told to bring you back to Akatsuki as payment. I will be taking you and the Nine Tails with me. Yeah, fat chance about that. And just activates his eternal Mangekyo, and his Susanoo immediately comes flying up. Fortunately for Pain, he hasn't used the Omega Shinra Tensei yet. So he, blasts with Shinra Tensei. It probably does push back to Susanoo. Maybe even would crack the ribs, because that was a lot of power there. The other Pains start trying to gang up on him, for at least the ones that are there. Ultimately, the stalemate, he's able to stalemate him long enough for him to get in the air and do the truly massive, not extinction, but city-destroying, village-destroying Shinra Tensei. And Sasuke, unfortunately, doing the best he can to stop it, can't stop it. And it cracks the arms off of Susanoo. He's able to slow it down and it's able to do less damage, but he was kind of at the epicenter. Sasuke's huffing and puffing, just... his eyes are bleeding a little bit from the overextended use of even the Eternal Mangekyo, because it's still ocular. It's still straining the eyes. So he, activates Amaterasu. He's able to burn the Pretapath, only the Pretapath just absorbs it in, because it's still chakra. I'm afraid we will not accept any other, we will have nothing less but your defeat, Sasuke Uchiha. And then Sakura calls out for Naruto, who shows up in his Sage Cloak, in Sage mode, with Gamabunta, with Gamahiru and Gamanaken. And Naruto shows up. Tsunade is there as well. He's like, Mom, are you okay? He's like, I'm fine. As Hokage, they're after you, Naruto. As Hokage, it's my job to defend this village. And, the Azura Path comes in, but Naruto just literally goes Kurama Sage mode and just, poof, just takes out the Azura Path. No problem. Just, no, Mom, I appreciate it. But I need to do this. This is something, he's after me. He's after me. This is something I need to do. Believe me. And he just gives that look, and Tsunade just kind of finally falls to the ground. Sasuke, take care of her, will you? It's like, I'll do my best. Or Sasuke might even say, well, you're going to need my help. You're a little worn out too, though, aren't you? And Sasuke's like, all right, fine, but you better not die on me here. And Naruto just kind of casually walks up, and now the Fox Sage Cloak, which looks like his Kurama full form cloak, but that's just because he's got the Sage Cloak on, which again was always a great look for Naruto. I really hate the fact they ditched the look. I will always lament it. That was a great look on him. They should have kept it. But he just casually is walking up, and he's in Kurama mode. He's in first state Kurama mode. His speed now is enough that he's faster than a Raikage, who I believe even said he was faster than his dad, who basically was moving at 9 light speed. And Naruto, we know once he hit Sage of 6 Path mode, was beyond light speed. So Naruto is creeping up on light speed level feats here. So he just comes in using Sage mode, Kurama mode, just easily just breaks the neck of the Preta Path. He actually can just blitz most of these guys without too much difficulty. Throwing a Rasen Shuriken, throwing it right at him, just incinerating him as before, rushing in, pretty much just guts most. Here's honestly the thing. With the Sage mode, he took out how many paths now? He took out the Azura path, he took out the human path, he took out the Preta path, he took down the animal path. He then took down the Naraka path after resurrecting that Preta path, and then took down the Preta path again, and only had the Deva path left. And it was only because he was out of Sage mode at that point that he really get kind of screwed over. If he was still in Sage mode, Deva would have still had problems. He wouldn't have been able to just impale Naruto as easily as he did. With Sage mode and still having Kurama's chakra as well, Naruto, I think, could blitz every single one of these guys. And including the Deva path, because the Deva path is still recharging from using the damn Shira Tensei. So, yeah, no joke. I think he literally goes through all these guys. However, a big thing that happens here, that still happens, but for different reasons, that Naruto pulls out one of the chakra rods and inserts it in him. It's like, as you did it, it's like, no, it's Jiraiya's message. The real one's not here. It's as he said, the real one's not here. Well, what do you mean? I remember, and he mentions, like, when I was a kid, Jiraiya used to tell me the story of the Gutsy Ninja, his first book he ever wrote. And he told me how he was inspired my father and gave me my name. He also told me how it was inspiration. He also, well, what are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything? Because he mentions then that he talked about how he once had temporarily adopted these kids and these orphans from the rain back in the Third War. Tsunade is still awake at this point. Actually, he's remembering this, and he told me that one of them had these eyes, the Rinnegan, and then he put 2 and 2 together. It's like, this is him, and somehow he's doing this from a distance. And so he goes and he locates them using Sage mode again, along with Kronzon. He zips over there, and he confronts Pain or Nagato, tries to shoot the rod into him, but it doesn't work. Naruto just negs it, and then they have their conversation. And it's pretty much the same conversation they have here, minus maybe a few details, like the fact that not everyone died here. Naruto isn't suffering from the loss of others, at least as much here. And he remembers that I am the son and student Jiraiya. We are both students of the Great Soda Sage. I just happen to be his son. So, and basically his spiel about peace and about believing in something greater. And, it persuades Nagato. Nagato ultimately comes over to the right side of the fence. He resurrects everyone. And Konan takes his body, wishes Naruto well. And Naruto goes and he leaves. And it goes back to the village. And he's relatively fine, by the way. He's not really that... he's probably a little worn out, but overall, he's fine. He can make it to the village. Kakashi also was alive at the end of this, so he doesn't need to be resurrected. He's probably actually more along the crowd, like maybe being like kind of propped up, like, oh god. And so they see him there, and I think, and I have made my decision. Sorry to disappoint some. It is Hinata who ultimately runs up to him, just gives him the hug, and she honestly, she saw everything in the devastation that happens. I think this Hinata at this point would throw caution to the wind, just straight out kiss him. Because, like, look, we almost died. You could have died. I'm not wasting my shot at you anymore. I love you. And Naruto's just blushing. He's like, he's got a bit of a goofy grin. And let me be very clear, too. He's not immediately falling in love with him either. But, falling in love with him. He's not immediately falling in love with her at this moment. But he's admitted that he admits he's been teetering whether or not he likes Hinata or Ino more. He likes them both, but feeling that and just seeing her and that, I think it kind of pushes his emotions there. And just kind of like, she laments, like she's disappointed, but she's also happy. Like she ultimately, while she really likes Naruto, she had feeling for Naruto. It's that maturity where whichever one of them won, they just wanted Naruto to be happy. And if the other can make Naruto happy, they'll respect that as well. That's what true friendly rivals in love would look like. So hypothetically, if Sasuke had wound up with Ino for whatever reason, that's one I really haven't done yet for a pairing is Sasuke and Ino. I've paired up Sasuke and Tenten. I've paired up Sasuke and Sakura plenty of times. I might have even done. Have I done Sasuke and Tamari? I know I've done Sasuke and Karin at least once. I'm pretty sure anyway. But have I done Sasuke and Tamari? That's one, and that one could logically work. She found him attractive. Anyway. So, and now that I'm saying, now I'm going to see if I might go to 3 at the 30-minute mark just to see if I can get this done in one. But yeah, so the day is saved, everyone's happy, they're starting to rebuild. But during that time, the Kage summon still happens because Killer Bee was still attacked. Now, I believe to prove loyalty to the Akatsuki, even though, he's offering the Edo Tensei here, Kabuto was sent to go after Killer Bee. And just as before with the Akatsuki, he did nearly succeed. Granted, he's not as strong as an 8-tailed beast. That's just, no, he's not that strong. But in terms of his trickiness, the fact he's got all those snake jutsus, I believe he's got that blinding dragon technique where it's like that energy dragon comes, eats the ball, creates blinding light and like noise that like deafens you. He does that, and he's not stupid enough to use his... I don't even know what the technique is called, honestly. Hold on, I'm going to find a Sakon Ukon just to find out what the technique's called. Sakon Ukon. Sakon Naruto, there we go. He's not stupid enough to try that on a Jinchuriki just because of the backlash it could have on his body. Because whatever happens to the body happens to you. And beyond that, in theory, if something foreign like a Chakabai were to come into you or attack you. So yeah, Sakon Ukon's Kekkei Genkai does not apparently have a name to it. It's just called his Kekkei Genkai. By the way, I have a feeling this is where Orochimaru probably developed his body switch technique, because it is in essence kind of what Sakon and Ukon do. They can just evade a body, take it over, and just destroy it from the inside out. So Orochimaru obviously altered it when he saw this, but I have a feeling this is where that technique originated from. Obviously, also turning into the white snake and whatnot. So Kabuto does his best. The Kabutos try, but they capture what they think is Killer Bee. He escapes. They send Kisame after Killer Bee again. A would ultimately come and rescue him and kill the Kisame. The 4th Great Shinobi War is still going to happen. Now, here's a big question that I'll pose to you, and I'll give you my answer. Would Danzo still be the Hokage, at least temporarily here? Unfortunately, I think yes, because Naruto's not going to be in on that meeting. So I think yes, he still goes temporarily. And honestly, everything happens the same, minus the fact Sasuke's not there, so A gets to keep his other arm. We know Ao still sees the Genjutsu that Danzo's trying to place on... I can never remember the guy's name, but Mifune. That he's still trying to place on Mifune. They escape. Obito confronts them, and honestly, Obito probably could have beaten. He beat both his assistants, and I have a feeling he has one of the Kabutos there to aid him in combat. Is what he does. To basically being the Sasuke substitute in this fight. Kabuto's interested in what Danzo's learned, maybe interested in like a temporary Sharingan, so he could also use something like Izanami. This is while also getting Sasuke's body and taking him and getting his Sharingan naturally. And I think that was probably the big reason he wanted the Sharingan. I mean, Sharingan allows him for many other techniques, but we know Orochimaru has basically learned the ability to copy techniques without the Sharingan at this point. But whatever. He probably wanted for all the extra abilities too, as well. So, anywho, going into the 4th Great Shinobi War, Tsunade would wake up, obviously. The army is led by A. And I think Naruto, at least for the time being, agrees to be on the island with Killer Bee. Sasuke would be on the front lines. I don't know if he would be paired with Kakashi, but he would definitely be on the front lines. He would be. There's no reason to really go any specifics about that. It's the fact that Sasuke at this point is probably, honestly, he might, with the Eternal Mangekyo, he might be stronger than Naruto without having full Kurama chakra, without having the Nine Tails cloak and stuff like that. And while Naruto's there, he's still training, he's still meditating, and he keeps talking with Kurama. He still keeps having conversation with Kurama. And he's, wondering, and he's like, why? Why do you have to? I promise, I'm going to do everything I can to make it up to you. It's like, you forcibly imprison me. Take my chakra against my will. You think I'll ever believe a word you say? He's like, Naruto's like, you got a point. And he he just takes the restraints off of Kurama. And he's like, yeah, look, we don't have to be enemies here, man. I'm obviously, I'm not going to undo the full seal completely, but I don't, those pillars I just stamped on you. I'm not, we don't have to be on you, man. I've always liked the idea that Naruto should have been able to alter his mindscape to, fit Kurama's needs if he really wanted to have a nice, better relationship. Like, turn the seal into a collar or something. I've always liked the anime, or the fanfics that do that. And so, Naruto, that's where Naruto is at the time. All the other Tenseis are attacking, all the Zetsus are attacking. The Zetsu army is nowhere near as powerful as it is in the original because they don't have Yamato to stabilize them and mass produce them. But what Kabuto does have is the ability to be in two places at once, literally. So he still tries to attack the island turtle with Manda, who is still Manda, and tries to go after the Nine Tails, but obviously you have thinking words here. You have Anoiki. There it is, Anoiki, and them showing up. Now I actually have to take back what I said because I always get the order of events confused a little bit. He kidnapped Yamato, who was probably there to keep Naruto in check just to be safe. There were Guy and Naruka and Yamato were there. I have to take it back because that's where they kidnapped them. So actually, yes, the Zetsus would all be in full force like they were originally. Ultimately, after a while, Naruto sensing everything going on the battlefield, because I imagine between Sage Mode, practicing, and Kurama's ability to sense negative emotions, he can sense so much. Naruto can't take anymore. He's going to go on the battlefield. And he comes across A, they have their confrontation, blitzes past them, him and Killer Bee catch up, ultimately with Sasuke, who probably got separated at one point. And all three of them end up coming up against Itachi, and Nagato. And Sasuke looks on as brother, and looks on his brother. It's like, brother. It's like, hello, Sasuke. And he, surprisingly, it's with Sasuke that I think he planted I can never remember the name of the technique. It's one of those names that is a mouthful to say. Hold on, Shusui Uchiha. What was it's just one of those. It's like, it begins with a K. Shusui Uchiha. What was the name of that damn technique? Okay, like I said, it's a goddamn mouthful. Hold on. Where is it? Koto Matatsukami. Koto Katatsukami. Yeah, it's seriously one of those mouthful names. And he does it, and he activates on Sasuke because the difference here is that he wanted the technique to be kept safe regardless, in case of an emergency kind of thing. Protect Konoha no matter what. I still think that was his game because he still always knew that Sasuke had the curse mark on him. And if he didn't put it on him, he would have put it on Naruto. But I think he put it on Sasuke in their fight because he just saw that Sasuke didn't succumb and he was still Sasuke. So not to remember the curse mark, he felt it'd be in the safe place with Sasuke. And so he activates it, gains control of his body. They're ultimately able to take down Nagato. And Itachi ultimately explains what happened. Because at this point, Sasuke doesn't know what happened, the real truth of the Uchiha massacre. And so Naruto and Killer Bee still go, aiding across the battlefield. Madara's doing his thing. Naruto's doing the best he can, but this, but even if he's stronger, he can only do so much. Like his Rasen Shuriken couldn't stop the third. He had to use Sage Mode and have hurt himself. Uh, and he wouldn't be able to stop Madara anyway, anyhow. At least not as he is right now. Sasuke and meanwhile Itachi talk about, and Sasuke's probably heard inklings of what happened and what really happened that night. I know it's not the truth. You're like keeping something from me. And Itachi just closes it. I kept it to protect you, Naruto. You were just a boy. And he explains what happened. And he asks, after explaining everything, he just asks, tell me, as they're getting to Kabuto, do you hate them? Do you hate the village? Do you hate your home? Knowing that they would die so our family could have power, that innocents, men, women, and children would die so they could be the ones in charge. And Sasuke thinks on this, and like he remembers his father. His father was was stern with him, but he still had pride. He remembers his mother, but he also thinks about everything else. He sees the village and like, I can't say I'm ever going to fully forgive you or them for what they made you do, but he thinks about Naruto and how Naruto approached this, and just thinks, I can't blame you for protecting what you cared about. And so they get to Kabuto, and then they get there, and Kabuto's like, oh, and Sasuke, I've been waiting for so long for this. I've been waiting for so long for this, or should I say, we have. And there's the other Kabuto coming out of the shadows. And Itachi, it's so good to see you again. It's over, Kabuto. Release the jutsu, or we will make you release jutsu. Oh, those are fighting words, Itachi. I'm looking forward to this. And he just shows off the True Dragon Sage mode, does the attack, and they start duking it out. Sasuke is immediately going into Sano because he's wondering what this technique is. Itachi can see like the chakras, like he's trying to do something. Do not let him touch you. Unfortunately, with Susanoo, that's not an issue. Sasuke also is like Amaterasu, just burns the Kabuto away. He tries to jump out of his mouth, succeeds. Long and short of it, Itachi would still put him under the Izanami, and Sasuke would ultimately end up burning the other one to crisp with Susanoo. With a Susanoo Amaterasu combo, just like, all right, and it's like, I'll just jump out of it, and then Sasuke's like, jump out of where, and just like, what? It's like he can't get out of it, just incinerates him inside the chakra construct. Then Madara would obviously prevent himself from being spirited away. Madara would then go and deal with the Kages as Naruto and Killer Bee dealt with Obito. That whole confrontation would actually pretty much go down beat for beat, with Kurama ultimately giving him the full access, beating the other tail beasts down, the others coming in to help him. Ultimately, Sasuke meeting up again. They are fighting Obito hand to hand completely. There is no Orochimaru here, so there's no Team Snake, so the Kages are not brought back to life. And the question is, do we think Tsunade would have straight out died? Because Katsuya was doing the best she could to keep her alive. With that Uzumaki/Senju heritage, it's very possible she still could have lived, because those fuckers could live through a lot. And she still managed to survive. She was still hanging on by a thread. I don't see it like all the Kages like being brought back to full health or anything, but I think they could live. Maybe even, and a Naruto clone could even show up there, find his mom, like, Mom! And it's like, and he gets the Megal Jutsu going and starts, Katsuya, I got it, and just starts healing her up. Finally, though, at the end where Obito is brought down, Madara ultimately comes back, tries to steal all the Fox's chakra. Naruto gets one up over him, because there is one thing I addressed at the I think either first episode or second episode of this series that I have not brought into play yet, and that is that Genesis Rebirth seal that Naruto has always had. He's used it once. He's released it once and has died. And it was probably like very early on, so Naruto would know how to release it. But Naruto basically, as they've been, I'll have to reread the chapters again because I do mildly forget how Kurama is nearly lost out of Naruto. But yeah, Sasuke is near put on the ground where Kabuto ultimately gets out and helps him out because he now, finding his true self again. And Naruto, near on death's door, releases the Genesis Rebirth Seal, and whereas Kurama was nearly taken out of him from there, was it that he was nearly taken out, or that he was just no, it was more that he was just kind of like unable to help at points. The Genesis Rebirth Seal not only is able to just suddenly fill Naruto back up with chakra and heal him up, but it hasn't been just absorbing his chakra. It's been absorbing Kurama's as well. So he immediately goes back into his fox cloak, like a different version of it, like a unique version to him thanks to the Genesis Rebirth. He's actually, you know what I can liken it to? It's coursing through his body like All For One does when Deku's using full cowl. That's what I could see that looking like. All cowl like 100%. And he's just glowing, and he's just, Kurama's cloak is billowing in the wind again. It's like, we're not done yet. And I can also see that being the point where the Sage of Six Paths, as Naruto was technically on death's door. Maybe Sakura was helping him, and this is where the Genesis Rebirth still comes in. He's got the Six Paths chakra as well. So now he's got all of this going. Sasuke and him come into the fray, immediately put the whoop down on Madara. Madara then turns into Kaguya. Their fight goes on, except Naruto is able to actually even resist, say, the K-Bone technique. I can't remember exactly what it was. Ash Bone technique? I think that might have been the name of it, something like that. Because of the healing factor, he's able to just resist it and just pull out the bone and be like, nope. Okay. And long and short of it, they are able to put Kaguya down with the Sun and Moon Seal. And Sasuke does not have any desire to take over like the village or the world or anything like that, seal the tail beast up. So you ultimately just come to the conclusion of the story. Now, because Hashirama's not there, because the Kages aren't there, this fight against Obito might be a little bit more difficult. That is to be certain. But it's very reasonable to believe that they could figure out the Sage Mode weakness of Obito, of the Six Paths mode, and overwhelm them there. And basically get to where they need to go. The fact that they're a lot stronger here than they are in the canon definitely helps out. So you would still get Naruto married to Hinata, having Boruto and Hinamori. Sasuke would most likely marry Sakura. I mean, you could make an argument for something else, but that's kind of where it usually goes anyway. Let me put it this way. If I have not established a relationship for Sasuke prior to the end of these series, he's going to end up with Sakura. That's the way that usually plays out in my mind. And ultimately, I think it actually would be Naruto who becomes the sixth Hokage here, not Kakashi. I think he just gains the sixth Hokage. I think they all just agree. It's like, no, yeah, this is where it needs to be. Although, maybe they just say Kakashi has more experience and is still very powerful. Maybe that just makes sense for the time being. Maybe you could go that route. And just give Naruto some time to get married, have a family, all that. But, either way, I would say that it still ends happily ever after. Until you get into Boruto and all the things get so screwed up. Let me put it this way. Baryon mode with this Naruto would be messed up powerful. Because the Genesis Rebirth technique is extremely powerful. So you add that just on a Kurama's chakra alone. And that's seriously messed up strong. You add on the fact that you can use the super strength of Tsunade as well at this point. Add that on to Kurama's chakra going into Baryon mode. Ishiki probably would have been effed. And Kurama might have still survived. That's my one step. That might be the one thing I reference in Boruto, going down the road, is that how would the Ishiki fight go down? Because that's one of the few things I know pretty well about the Boruto series, is that Naruto Ishiki Baryon fight. And Sasuke lost his Sharingan in that fight. Will he lose it there too? Well, given Momoshiki did try to take him, yeah, maybe. So yeah, anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. That is the end of this one. I will put a poll up today for the next one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next